up, everybody? So here we are back in the car, and for this week I will be talking about my first track experience and my first track event ever, which I did in this car. So that needless to say, and I just want to start out by saying once again thanks to everybody who's been commenting and liking all the past videos, and if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, and hopefully you'll like this video, and if so, hit the like button. So getting into it, oh, man, someone's just blowing up my phone right now, but getting into it, this week was my first track event, and it was 2 days ago actually, so I'm shooting this on Friday. There's a little bit of a lag when I can shoot videos just because I'm in the fasting month of Ramadan. If you guys don't know what that is, I basically just can't eat all day, so it's totally thrown off my schedule. But it was my first track event. I went up there with a co-worker, and I was hoping to meet up with a friend there as well, but the one with the yellow Z06, but unfortunately he was unable to come. And I just want to say that I was a bit intimidated going to my first track event, and I wish I wasn't, because I think I would have done it a lot sooner, even if I didn't own this car. And that being said, I think if you're really interested in starting to do track events and whatnot, just go ahead and do it.
Just do it! Don't let your dreams be dreams.
Because if you don't, you're just going to keep hesitating, and I think the best way to really just get into it is start off with something small like I did with drag event. And then upcoming next month, I want to say, hopefully I'll be doing Thunder Hill, and I'll actually be doing a full-on track day with my buddy. We're just kind of looking at the dates right now and seeing which track event we want to do exactly, and with that we're going to be doing a trainer course which you have to complete before you can actually get on the track, and that'll be with instructor, and they'll go through everything. You'll sit in the classroom, go through all the technicalities and all the maneuvering, and then you'll actually perform the maneuvering on a skid pad, and then do a cone course, and then you'll end the day by doing laps around the track, and that'll be with yourself and then a couple times with an instructor. But anyways, let's talk. What is this guy honking at? Thank you. But going on, that lady honked so she could say I like your car. But and then for anyone who's new to the channel, the Z06 is a little bit different just because I matte wrapped it than most cars. So the first track event, like I said, it was a drag event. I went up there with a friend, and he's way more seasoned, obviously because it was my first time. And this guy, this girl was like looking at her phone going into my lane. Anyways, so it was my first track event, and he gave me a lot of advice. So my first run with this car, he has the same car, but he wasn't running it that day. He told me to run the car in touring mode, and I got there, I did my tech inspection, went into the line and got up to the line, and I listened to him. I went through the box, and I planned, by the way, this track day I did not plan to do burnouts for the drag, which in hindsight was a terrible idea, because as the day progressed my runs got worse, and I'll explain why. Because I wasn't doing burnouts obviously, but they got worse because the tires just cooled down throughout the day. So my first run was during the hottest point of the day, and it was when I did right after I had driven to the track. So the track's about 30 minutes from my house, it's like a 20 some odd mile drive, and my tires were actually like decently warm at that time, and also the box wasn't that wet. So I don't know if you guys know, but at the drag strip they wet the box for those looking to do burnouts to warm up the tires without just destroying the tread on them. And I didn't have to, my tires didn't get any water on them coming through the box. I was able to drive around it because there wasn't much. And I lined up and I put the car in touring mode, and my first run was in touring mode with traction on, and I didn't do any type of launch control. The car was an automatic. I did the run. I did an 11.9 with a trap speed of 123 miles per hour. Unfortunately, I don't have that run on video. because I just forgot to turn on the GoPro, and like an idiot, I forgot my stick for the PDR, so I don't have any PDR footage, which is a real bummer because then you can actually see the car, how the car was performing exactly. But hopefully through the GoPro footage and, you know, me explaining everything, it'll kind of give you an idea, especially if it's someone who's interested in the car. But going from that, anyways, I ran an 11.9. I had a lot of slip in first gear. And I went back, I talked to Chris, and I was like, yeah, I ran an 11.9. I was like, you know what? From here, there's nothing but room for improvement. Wrong. There's nothing but room for it getting worse. And I talked to my friend who was supposed to be there. He was on the phone with me. He's like, you know, from here on out, you're going to get worse because you're going to start experimenting. You're going to start doing some stupid stuff. And your times are just going to get worse, especially with these Super Sports on. So if you guys don't know, the Z06 comes with Michelin Super Sports on it. And if you get the Z07 package, then you actually kind of get you get the Sport Cup 2s, which are somewhat like drag radials, and they'll give you quite a bit more grip on the track. And even Chris was saying, he's like, you know, with these Super Sports on, you're just going to get unpredictable times. You're going to be all over the place, especially for your first time with this car. And I really was like, oh, you know, kind of skeptical, but this guy, you know, he's pretty experienced and he knows what he's talking about, and he was right. So my second run, I go in, and I decided to do it exactly how I did the first one. I was like, you know, I got an 11.9 and I can go down from there. And I left traction control on and I left touring mode on, and I ended up running a 12.2. And I was like, man, I got a slower time. But this time, you know, in between your runs, you park your car. It's parked, the tires are cooling down. You are, you know, the day's getting cooler, by the way, at Sonoma. As the day goes on, it doesn't matter if it's 100 and some odd degrees, which it was that day. Anywhere else in California, the Sonoma Raceway will drop below freezing by the time the sun's down. So it just got exponentially colder throughout the day. And on my second run, I got a 12.2, but my trap speed, and by the way, my trap speed on my second run was slower, which, you know, you would think is obvious by getting a 12.2, but it was only by 2 miles per hour. So I trapped 121 at the finish line. So I'll go ahead and show you guys that clip, which I have on the GoPro. After that run, I went ahead and I was like, you know what, let me try some stuff. So I was running on, you know, my normal tire pressure and everything, and I was like, since I'm getting this slip, let me try lowering the tire pressure. And I did so, and I was talking to my friend on the phone. You hear him in the videos talking to me. And I did my second run, and I actually got an even worse time. And I was like in shock. I was like, you know, how come I'm getting so much more slip? But, you know, it should have been obvious. I had driven the car up to the track. The tires were warm at the time, and I wasn't doing burnouts prior to doing the runs. And if you guys see, I do like a very slight burnout only because I wanted to get the water from the box off the tires. And I didn't want to rip off any tread because, you know, like I said, in the back of my mind, I was like, there's no point in ruining a set of $2,000 tires if I'm just going to be putting on some dedicated tires for the track. Whether I was going to go with like some Nittos, which are like a combination of, you know, street/drag radials, or if I was going to go with some Hoosiers and just go straight drag slicks, which probably wouldn't be the case because I don't have a trailer to pull this. And you'd have to obviously put those tires on. You wouldn't be driving up to the track with some straight drag slicks on the car. But anyways, so the third run was even worse. I got a 12.7, and I trapped a 124, I believe, on that third run. I have a video clip of that, so I'll go ahead and show that.
Sure.
I was like, you know, let me try switching up some stuff. And I asked my buddy, and I talked to someone else who was running a Z06 there, and a buddy of Chris's, and he told me he was running the car on sport mode, and he was running with traction off. And he was getting, you know, he was landing around 11.5s. He had the same tires as me. Wasn't doing burnouts. And he was actually running that car because he didn't want to run his other car because he wanted to run with his buddies in the slower bracket. He's like a pretty seasoned guy as well. He has a Camaro that runs under the 10s. And so he was running like 11.5, 11.7. And he was doing like, you know, he was doing more of a burnout than I was, obviously. But he was running, yeah, like I said, 11.5, 11.7. And I asked him, and he told me, you know, go try doing sport, traction off, and everything. And like I said again, I was running the car in automatic, you know, traction off, and going into sport mode. And by the way, for those of you questioning why I was running the car in touring mode, Chris had advised it because the car squats easier during your initial takeoff when you have the suspension a lot looser. And allows you to get that grip on the ground where you won't be breaking loose and you'll actually hook into the ground and get a good start. So, anyways, on my fourth run, I did even worse. My going from first to second to third with traction off, the car just was slipping the entire time with me. Every single gear shift, the car would just slip more. And that should, I don't know, I wasn't expecting it to slip in third gear. You know, that was pretty surprising to me. And I talked to my buddy and I talked to everyone. They're like, yeah, that's, you know, that happens with this car. And without doing a burnout, that's something that you're just going to have to deal with. So I went ahead and, so I'll show you guys that run in a second here. But I want to note that on that run, I should have done the best time because I crossed the line at a 125. So my trap speed got higher with the traction off, and my times were worse because of the slipping. So if I had warmed up my tires, I possibly would have done a lot better. What, were you gonna say more?
Yeah. As long as you get all the water off, just remember, Omar, just don't go give a fuck.
I spun like, you know, even with traction off now, I spun and shifting into third.
Yeah, I heard that.
Like, that's the first time I've ever gotten that much wheel spin on third gear. I decided to do my next run, which was prior to the eliminations, with the traction off again and in sport mode. And I was like, maybe I'll try doing a little bit more of a burnout, but obviously I pussied out and I didn't do it, so I just kind of did the normal burnout. And on my next run, I actually got my highest trap speed. So I ran the car with traction off in sport mode, and I did a little bit more of a burnout. It wasn't much, but I still had all the slipping problems at the start. I ran a 12.4 on my final run with a trap speed of 127. And I honestly, I'm forgetting my 60 feet stats and my reaction time and everything, but that being said, In hindsight, I probably should have just waited to go to the drag strip until I got drag radials or the Sport Cup 2s, and or I should have done a burnout, or I should have been willing to, sacrifice these tires. But like I said, I didn't see a point in sacrificing these tires if I was going to replace them with the Sport Cup 2s, and I dedicate those tires to the track. And honestly, I'm glad I went and did it and just, got my first experience there, because I really did enjoy it, and I plan to head back, as soon as possible. And like I said, I'm already planning to do an actual track day with my buddy coming up here. So that was basically all I really wanted to cover this week in the vlog, tell you guys about that experience. And for those of you asking or wondering about like the mat on the car and everything, it did pulled a lot of attention. A lot of people were asking me if it was painted or if I ordered it from the factory like this, and whether or not it was a wrap, or how it was done, etc. How much it costed. And for those of you who are asking how much the wrap costed, I can't tell you the price on the wrap because I didn't pay what the normal price would be, and I actually don't even know what the normal price of a wrap would be because I had a friend of mine do it for me, and I really don't know what it would cost to wrap the full car like I did at the normal price. But I will ask, and then hopefully I can get back to you guys on that. Yeah, hopefully you guys liked the video. If you did, hit the like button, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe.